Hello everybody and welcome to another coaching VOD review. We've got a Silver 2 Mercy player. I wanted to start this video off with actually reading some of the note that they left with this VOD review. It might add a little context. I haven't watched it yet, but it might add a little context before we even delve into this. I'm going to paraphrase a few different little spots that stood out to me. So they're not they Mercy one-tricked in this game, but it was because their team asked them to, and they feel like they're not comfortable knowing when and who to swap to. So I might throw some suggestions out there on if that were the case in this game, which maybe Mercy was the right play the whole time, and maybe it wasn't. And I also want to touch on one other thing that you mentioned in your note, which says, I'll read this one verbatim. Winston is constantly rolling me and my team right now, though that's been a consistent issue in my losses, and people say I'll just swap to X to stop him. Don't worry, Anna, Reaper, Brigida, etc. So the one thing I'll say as a support player, if Winston is a problem, there's not a lot you can do as a support in terms of Winston being a problem. Like, you can't, there's not a lot in terms of like fighting a Winston you can do. Basically, as a support, your job is to stay alive and keep your team alive for as long as humanly possible. So what I tend to do when Winston is a problem is Brigida can sometimes help with that. It depends on what the rest of the enemy team is doing, but Brigida against a Winston alone can definitely farm some healing off of him through just swinging on the mace. You might be able to boop him back if he jumps and doesn't have his shield down, that sort of a thing. Otherwise, Baptiste and Lucio would be the other two heroes that I would consider going, and some of this is just going to depend on what the rest of the enemy team is doing. Like, if they've got a lot of long-ranged damage coming your way, Lucio might not be the best pick, because as you're wall riding away, you might just put yourself in a lane to get shot by a sniper or something. Whereas Baptiste might be better, because when you get low, you can hit shift, you get instant 100 HP back, you can throw your lamp down. You've got a gun that if you can land some headshots, you'll make the Winston think twice about diving you, that sort of a thing. So, all right, now that we covered that, let's get into your VOD here on Junkertown with Mercy. So let's wait until we get... All right, so... Yeah, all right, so... This is our Mercy player, and they've got two DPS that are long range, perfect Mercy pockets, absolutely perfect. So I would be looking, start on the Widow for the quick pick, and then once the Widow's kind of staring at a shield or something else, swap over to Ashe. Ashe is a good Mercy pocket hero. Widow can be too, though, but so that's what I would be doing. Start on the Widow for the first 10-20 seconds, depending on what you're up against and where they are. And once you kind of see the Widow just staring down the scope looking for her next shot and nothing's really coming, go to the Ashe. That's what I'd be looking at here. Rewind just a quick bit. All right, a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so you start straight on the Ashe. So Widow's probably going to be right above you. If anybody's in a bad spot that they shouldn't already be in, the Widow might get an instant pick. If she misses and you're damage boosting them, might be able to land a double body shot for the kill. Ashe can come later after that initial couple shots comes out from the Widow, and then you go down to the Ashe, who's going to be down here, and then, you know, doing more of the grunt work, if you will.
Stay away of your meat.
Yeah, so the Widow got the pick that I was just talking about. Alright, so standing here could be problematic against a better team. They don't have anything to punish you being up here, though, so in this particular example, you're fine. But if there's a bunch of long-ranged damage, or if the enemy team's just holding this area right here, they've got a clear line of sight on you, so just be aware of that. Don't make this like a normal thing that you do. But in this case, you're good.
Let me take a look. I could use some assistance.
Okay, so good flying away from the Winston. You made space. So that Anna got a big anti-nade off on you guys. If that turns into an issue, one thing that you could consider swapping to is Kiriko. Not saying do that right here, but if it becomes more of an issue down the road on this game. But yeah, see, your Widow is popping off and you're still on the Ashe. You should be flipping between both of them. Okay, now that's an easy res because the Sigma's got Sigma should have kept the shield up for you there. That might have been just a communication thing. Just say in the chat that you're rezzing. Sigma will, you know, keep you protected, or should anyway. Switch to your damage boost a little bit more. You're on the healing a little too often. So yeah, Sigma needs help a little bit. So okay, you've got Ashe healed. You should be on damage right here. Like the second they're topped off, go straight to damage boost. You're fine trying to heal the Moira, except they're already full health. You could be damage boosting the Moira a little bit if your DPS are missing a bunch of shots and you know the Moira's, you know, right-clicking for whatever reason. But what I would be doing is keeping the damage boost on the Ashe, or maybe even flying over to the Widow and then just being ready to fly back into the Ashe when they get dove on. Okay, so you damage boost here. So remember I said the anti if that becomes a problem. So Sigma's low, you can't do anything about it. Nothing you can do. They're purple right now. Now I get that you're waiting for that purple to go off and you're going to start healing them the second that happens. But if these antis continue being a problem, Kiriko would have been maybe a better pick. So, alright, putting yourself at the back of the van kind of got you stuck a little bit. Now right here, if you fly to the Widow, I think the range of your beam will stick with the Sigma. Like, you kind of, like, you know you want to do that, but I think you're trying to get some extra healing to the Sigma. The beam's gonna stay. Yeah, see, you still got that beam stuck to him, so moving quicker would have potentially saved you. But unfortunately, your team doesn't have a lot to do with dealing with the Winston. But it doesn't really matter because you still got the point.
I'll have you in top condition. Put me in the right direction.
Yeah, good call not to res that. You might get yourself picked. The spawn's right there. That's not worth it.
Continuing damage increase. Payload's just sitting there. Let me tend to that.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
Under attack. Here's ahead.
So, too much healing beam here. Should already be on damage. Yeah, so you missed a TNT damage boost. Those things can be really annoying, especially when they're mercy damaged. So here you should probably be playing back behind the DPS, because dying right here, you're basically on the front line. Well, you are on the front line, and that's why you died to the Winston there. So that's more of a positioning thing. I will say one thing, though. The team comp is definitely not beneficial to this dealing with this Winston. I think having a Reaper, if this Winston continues to be a problem, probably from the Widowmaker. Yeah, because Widow's been struggling here. I will say though, if I were playing Mercy, I'd be pocketing both DPS more, whereas you're mainly just on the Ashe. So that might be playing into this a little bit too, about the Widow struggling a bit, but I mean, if a Widow's getting headshotted by the enemy Widow, you being on Mercy is not going to prevent that unless you just plan on eating the bullet for her. Which I don't advocate doing. I don't really like the Widow's positioning either. It would be nice if the Widow were like on a high ground spot, and that might give you an opportunity to fly to safety. The Widow's kind of frontlining a little too much here, and that's why she's taking a lot of damage. I mean, she's almost taking more damage than the tank. And that's not your fault other than beyond just calming and trying to give positioning suggestions, but I mean, it is kind of working, I guess. But yeah, that Widow should be playing high ground. And that might make you surviving against a Winston easier too, because then you'd have a avenue of escape if you were pocketing the Ashe, because the Ashe could be playing a couple different spots, could be playing more toward the cart, or could be playing high ground too. So, yeah, okay, I was about to say, get on the DPS, let the Moira heal the Sigma. You've kind of lost track of your DPS. One of them's right above you, the other one's right over there, dying. It would be a tough choice on which one to stay with, but you should be at least on one of them. And it would be nice if both DPS kind of played in the same vicinity. Honestly, I'd kind of like to see the Ashe and the Widow. Where the Widow is, I'd kind of like to see the Ashe there too. But we're not talking about them so much. We're talking about you. And you're not on either of them. So I'd like to see you on one of them. And don't, yeah, so now the Moira is out of position trying to think that they could have saved that, which they would not have been able to save that. Outside of if the Widow just like grappled up like way behind where like the spawn is and that kind of a thing, but that so now both healers out of position. I would not res that. You're so close to the spawn, just let them respawn. I mean, it's a safe res, but I would just wait, because now the Ashe died. You could have been on the Ashe, and now this is just turning into a trickle. Because now the Widow's going to try to come in and fight again. They're not going to be able to do anything. And they're probably going to die too. Are they? Oh, they got a kill. They're one.
Healthy body, healthy mind.
Alright, I guess I was wrong by 1 HP. So, normally, if that Widow would probably die, and then you'd have been waiting for them too. So just, you gotta be careful on your reses and causing trickles. Playing high ground with the Widow would be a little bit more advantageous, but then jumping down when the Winston dives, or flying away. Okay, you got a Reaper now, so trying to get that Reaper on the Winston, pocketing the Reaper. Yep. If that Reaper is in a full engage with the Winston, and what I mean by full engage is basically like this, where he's like right there, he's point blank. You don't necessarily have to be healing him, because remember, Reaper self-heals a little bit when he does damage. I would just damage boost, because Reaper can melt Winston, and if you're damage boosting him, he's going to melt him all that much quicker, and he can heal himself. I wouldn't really be worrying about the healing too much here. And because of how low you were, playing further back, like kind of where the Moira is, like back over here, would have been advantageous because one, the Moira could have healed you. She can't heal you through the shield. Plus you're kind of far away from her. So don't put yourself on that front line. Unless you need to be, but you didn't need to be there. You could have even tried to like fly to the Moira and then go up to the high ground. You probably would have been safe on that high ground. There's outside of if the DPS tried to get a line of sight on you, you would like the Winston wouldn't have done it. The Winston was too focused on surviving and getting away from the Reaper or dueling the Reaper for a little bit and then getting out. I don't think he would have went for you.
I'm here to help.
So I would initiate on this attack here with Mercy ult. You've kind of had it for a while now. I would be looking to use it. Also wait, you have a Genji now. That's an odd pick. I don't know why we're going Genji Widow into a Winston. That's alarming. So like right here, your whole team's ready to engage, kind of already doing like a poke battle. I would just pop ult and start damage boosting the whole team. Let Moira do some of the healing because they need ult charge anyway. And just be damage boosting and seeing what you can make happen off of that. And then getting into the air too while you're ulting. See, like there you flew into the front line for some reason. No need for that. You gotta play keep away from the Winston, and you're kind of like making it easy for the Winston to kill you. And then on top of that, you still have your ultimate. You're holding it way too long here. Mercy gets ult relatively quickly, so, you know, initiate with a fight. Try to make something happen with this team, because right now your team's kind of low damage. Beyond the Zarya, and if Genji can get in their backline, maybe he can do something, but... Okay, so we're ulting here.
Heroes never die.
I don't know that I like this ult because... Is this a team battle, or are we missing somebody? You've got Genji, you've got Widow, you've got Zarya. Where's the Moira? I think Moira is dead. Maybe that might be why you ulted. You were trying to make up for the Moira not being there. Oh no, she's there too. Okay, it is a team battle. Damage boost. They're all healed. Damage boost. Yeah, too focused on the heal beam. Gotta get that damage boost stuff. I mean, right now you're fine on healing the Widow. It'd be nice to see the Widow on the high ground again, so that gives you a place to fly to. Your Genji is ulting, you should be damage boosting him and being with him. Because Genji doesn't get Nano Blade here, because nobody's playing Ana. So, damage boosting Genji, trying to make the best out of his blade is key. That's a good ultimate. Damage boosting the Moira ult is okay, but doing that after the Genji blade would have been better. So where you just kind of flew to escape, that's where the Widow should be, and should be giving you that escape route. A better Widow would have been doing that.
Such naivety. Fire is will.
Amplify your power.
Okay, so you did it with time left on the clock. Barely any, but time left on the clock.
Switching sides. Initiating match.
Heightening your capability.
Alright, what do we got for a team comp here? So now we've got the Ana, although we don't have the Genji to go with it. So with this, you should be pocketing Widow. And then maybe Zarya. I wouldn't be worried too much about the Junkrat. You might want to damage boost the Junkrat just on the initial, like coming out of spawn. You might have a good rollout or something to that effect where you might get an easy pick, but generally speaking, I'd be looking in for Widow and Zarya here. And then also in terms of, you did suggest that knowing what other healers to pick, Baptiste might not be terrible here. Zen might not be a bad choice here. Yeah, I'll leave it at those two. I think those two could be good here.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
Don't be too reckless out there.
If the Sombra becomes an issue, sometimes I'll play Brig, because you can block the hack. I'll just throw that one out there too. Yeah, so too much on the Junkrat. I said like do it initially, but I would already be going toward the Widow now. He got a pick, which is good when you helped with that, but at this point now, get on Widow or Zarya, but probably Widow. Okay, that was pretty good flying to, you know, kind of get away from the Winston. Nothing bad there. So, yeah, damage boosting the Widow, they're right next to you. It's an easy, like, that beam should be out almost all of the time, unless you're, like, hiding or something. But in this case, get it on the Widow. Widow should be your pocket character of choice right now anyway. Like, you'll heal the Widow, but you don't damage boost them very often. There you go. This Widow's getting picks too, so heal the Ana. A little slow on the reaction to healing the Ana there. You know, in a team fight and you're in that kind of a position, move the beam around. Just move it all over the place. It's not a big deal if you get somebody to 3/4 health and then you bounce it around to somebody else. If your team wins a fight and everybody's at 3/4 health, nobody's going to be complaining if you win it. Just keep it around. Whoever's taking damage when they take it, get the healing beam on them, and then you can always come back to the other hero a couple seconds later.
No one can hide from my sight.
Not really sure why your Widow is ulting here. So you just ulted too. Let's... Okay, so I think what happened is you see some people low here, and then you kind of panic and ult. Not a terrible ult. I'm not sure if it was needed, but it wasn't the worst ult in the world, but I think I might have held on to that. Yeah, not a whole lot you could be doing here. See, now you're jumping into the front line. And that's a suicide res. That's something that can be a bad habit for Mercy players. You gotta be careful on your reses because 1, you can add a trickle effect to the team. 2, you can create feeding. And 3, you get yourself killed to get the life of somebody else up. But like the Ana's already dead, so there's no healing going on right there. You might as well just go down with whoever's left. Resing a Zarya who has no charge, now they're probably going to feel compelled to throw out a couple bubbles on themselves, prolonging this life. Maybe they get a pick or two, but I doubt it. And now it's just going to kind of delay everything. Okay, so they just died right away, which is actually probably for the best in the circumstance they found themselves in there. But yeah, that was a res you shouldn't have done. Just stay on whoever was left, either heal them or damage boost them until you go down with the ship, or until you can get out, one or the other. But that should have been a full retreat mode there.
Has reached the checkpoint.
Amplifying your power.
The enemy. Taking damage. Clear out.
I'll make sure that doesn't scar.
Thanks.
Get them off. Still watching over you.
I'd like that Soldierin to be on high ground. Same with the Junkrat, really. It's like you guys are kind of making it easy for the Winston to kill you guys. Like if the 2 DPS were on the high ground, then if he jumps up there, you guys could jump down, then you'd have the Zarya protecting you, and then he's got an ability or two that he might have already used. It's like it's making it very easy for him. So a little too much healing on the Zarya there. You got to protect the people that the Moira is going after. I mean, actually, wait a minute.
Let me take a look.
This actually would have been a great time to just Mercy ult. The second you get it, pop it. Because at this point, you could be healing everybody. Now, I'm not totally sure if you would have saved them, but it might have been savable. Hard to say.
Checking in.
But, okay, good. You didn't try to res or do anything. You just got out, or died, but, yeah. Alright, so in this case, since you still have your ultimate, I would probably look to be initiating on this fight with your ult. See if you can kind of get the momentum back on your guys' side. Damage boosting, damage boosting. Yeah, so kind of how you're bouncing the healing here around, that's how you should be doing it all the time.
That's the stuff.
Improving your vitals. Do something.
So like right here, I'd be ulting if I still had it. I'd start it on the Junkrat, and as soon as he gets topped off, you know, the Winston's going to get some of that effect, plus the Ana's throwing a nade, and then just damage boosting and trying to regain control of this whole thing. Because if you can hold an enemy team here, you know, and then there's that window right here, this can be a hard area to break out of. So winning this section can really buy you a bunch of time that you desperately need right now. Because right now you guys are getting smoked. So basically what I'm trying to suggest is there's certain points on certain maps that you can reclaim a bunch of time at. This being one of them. Identifying those spots on different maps is a big deal. And knowing that this is one of those spots, I would be popping ult and doing everything in my power to, you know, try to get some of that time edge back on your side.
Right on the money.
So it actually looks like your team did it without the ult. Maybe. No, it's still going. Okay, so now we're ulting. I'm kind of alright with that. Damage boosting though, focus a little bit more on the damage boost. So the reason why I keep constantly saying you should be damage boosting more, think of it like this. You've got your scoreboard, right? You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you've got all your different stats and damage. Make a better, and you've got damage. And you're number 5 with 0. You're not doing any damage as Mercy. There's nothing coming from you here. And I'm not advocating you pull out your pistol either. I mean, you can at certain points, but the point I'm making is Mercy doesn't do damage. Unless she's an extension of the DPS she is damage boosting. So I'm always going for between 2 to 4k of damage boosted every game that I play on Mercy. We don't have a way of seeing how much you're getting here, but you should be looking at that and trying to advocate, like, okay, am I close to putting up somewhere in between those numbers? And if not, and if damage feels like an issue, playing Mercy might not be the best hero. Like right there, for example, you could have just damage boosted that Orisa because there's no way that Cassidy's killing a 95% Orisa. It's not gonna happen. And then you just heal him afterwards. But, you know, getting that extra little bit of damage out. So here, now you're kind of on the front line again, not where you should be. Play kind of, yeah, back here. This is better. Let the Ana worry about healing the Orisa. I'm alright with that res. Again, let the Ana deal with the Orisa. You're on the DPS. Ana will... It's harder for an Ana to heal the DPS. The Ana can hit that Orisa all day long. If the Orisa overextends, you can't help that. You're not going to be able to save the Orisa if she overextends. Your job is to be an extension of these two DPS players. Let the Ana worry about the Orisa. You worry about healing and damage boosting the two DPS. So now you put yourself in trouble, and now you got to get out. Meanwhile, your beam's not on anybody. So there, heal the Ana. Let the Ana try to heal either the Sojourn or try to do extra damage. But keeping the Ana alive, so that way you've got another healer available to maybe heal the Sojourn in that case, or just throwing out an anti-nade, a sleep, extra damage. But the Ana would have been the heal priority at that certain instance.
That feels much stronger.
So right there, yeah, getting over here might be all right. Otherwise, playing a little bit further back by the Sojourn, but then putting the beam on the tank would probably be a little bit better of a play, just because your Ana's not here and your tank's probably going to melt. Although they got antied, so damage boosting the tank might be a good play, because this should be a resable thing, maybe. So all right. One thing I will say right here, you're kind of in hiding mode, right? You probably could... So I would take the beam off the Orisa because nobody seems to realize you're here. But as soon as the Orisa walks out, your beam's gonna basically just point an arrow to you. Like, oh, there's a Mercy hiding there. And you could be rezzing that Junkrat because they're not looking at you. I don't know why they're not looking at you. That beam is still out. They should just look over. He's right there. But the fact that he's not, you could get that Junkrat rezzed. Had you have done it like right away. Now, if you even waited a second, then it would have been too late. But the opportunity was there. But the other thing is if you kept your beam off of the Orisa, they might not have seen you. But
Heroes never die.
Round 2 complete.
the other thing I wanted to point out here.
Genji is with you.
You will threaten us no longer.
Back far enough. So probably flying to Sojourn if you weren't. So basically, you weren't gonna go for the res. Oh, okay, I see what happened. She went back that way. Yeah, you don't even have an escape route right now. The only thing you really could do here is res the Junkrat or try to like just sneak off behind the soldier, but there's probably people on the cart pushing that would have seen you. Nothing really you could do there. All right.
Ready for battle. Ready for battle.
So yeah, kind of same thing again. Start on the Widow, get on the Sojourn.
1.
Everything's kind of status quo for what we've been saying here. In terms of other supports that you could maybe be playing here, honestly, I would have started with Mercy with this too, so I think you're fine being on Mercy. I wouldn't be looking at any other hero here. I would say though, you should be pocketing the Widow more than you're doing damage, and by that I mean damage boosting. The Widow, this Widow's getting picks, so helping them out a little bit. Like right now you're on the Winston, not really sure why, because now you're right in the enemy Winston bubble when all three of the people you're kind of responsible for are where they should be. I don't know why you're here right now. You shouldn't be. Again, this is Anna's responsibility. If he's in a little bit better of a spot, you could help him, but don't put yourself in harm's way to heal that Winston. Let the Anna deal with it. And if the Anna's not dealing with it, then that needs to be worked out between the Anna, the Winston, and the team. But it's not really your job to be healing that Winston beyond reasonable doubt. And if you find yourself being put in harm's way like you were in that Winston bubble, that's not good. Okay, pocketing Sojourn here. I'm fine with that. Sojourn's a broken character right now. Again, too close. You could have played that further back while still pocketing the Sojourn. I would like to see the Sojourn in a little bit of a higher ground spot, like in that mid ground, right above the point. She's got that mobility ability that could have just thrown her up there, and then you could have been up there and then healing people from the mid ground area. But other than that, I mean, you could have used your fly ability to get up there, I suppose. But no one's really dealing with this Winston, unfortunately. In a case like this, I'm okay with both of what the DPS are playing, though, so it might fall on the tank. Roadhog, maybe. Orisa, maybe. Diva. Because it seems like your Winston is struggling to do what the enemy Winston is doing.
Don't make this harder than it needs to be.
So, I don't like the Sombra pick.
Personally, when I get the most kills, okay?
I'm okay with Bastion. And I'm not really sure about the Brigitte pick. I'm guessing they go Brigitte because they're struggling on Anna. But, yeah. Diva I like, though. That's a good pick. Although, I think Diva's going to struggle to get good enough heals in this kind of a team comp, though. Hence the bad pick on the Brigitte. Okay, good res on the Brig. You know, I don't touch on this enough too, but like if you are playing with a Mercy, it is very advantageous to die in spots that can be resable as opposed to dying so far up on the front line that you just can't be res, because now you've eliminated an ability on your team. That Brig died in a pretty safe spot, so you were able to bring him right back into the fight. Whether that was on purpose or not, I don't know, but I just thought I'd point that out. But yeah, exactly what I was worried about is happening here. This Diva's not capable of doing what they would like to do because the healing's just not there. I don't hate having a Mercy here because the resing is nice because it's a very long walk back from spawn. The Brig, though, I'm not really feeling the Brig, and I'm not feeling the Sombra either. Yep, so now you've lost your tank, essentially. Okay, that's good. I like this. Good use of ult. Good job getting the Bastion back. So, alright, right here, though, you're not doing anything. So what I would have done is, let's rewind just a little bit. So you get out from the Winston, you get the res. Now, this is what I'd be looking to do. I would actually be flying above the cart and contesting it, and hoping that they can't hit me. And I wouldn't be flying stationary. I'd be trying to, you know, duck and dodge, moving around, you know, spamming all my movement keys, kind of making maybe like a little mini circle above the cart, but trying to actually contest the cart while ulting, because you could hold it for about 10 seconds by the time you get there. But instead, like, now healing the Sombra is not a bad choice either. And then moving to the cart, but you didn't need to fly there, and then the cart's moving, and then right here you're not doing anything. Once you go to this direction, now you've lost your way. I think what you're trying to do is save the brig, but the brig's so far out of position, and they're in a position where they're probably just dead anyway. You can't save them. Holding the cart would have been the play, and then calling for the brig to get to you at all costs. But yeah, I think this is just a lost cause anyway. But that's what I would have done differently on that final point. So,
Don't worry, I'll be right behind you.
So let's talk about final points here. Number 1, damage. Damage beam a little bit more often, a little bit more frequently. Keep in the back of your mind, if you're playing Mercy, you've got a damage deficit on your team unless you're pocketing the correct DPS and you're damage boosting them. Then you're issuing out damage. But if you're just healing, you got a damage issue. So damage beam more than you're currently doing, and then alternate it between the 2 DPS. Don't just pick one and leave it on that one. Give it to both of them. Make the mental decision of which one maybe deserves a little bit more than the other. Maybe for some reason you deemed it more on this one than that one, but honestly, I probably would have evened that out a little bit more. It didn't really seem like this was a bad Widow. They were getting picks. You probably could have helped them a little bit more beyond just healing them. Number 2 was your positioning. Getting a little bit better use of high ground, staying away from the Winston, staying away from frontlining, I think would have been advantageous. I didn't really hate that you were Mercy on this team comp, though. I think for the most part it called for it, but trusting your Ana to heal the tank while staying with your responsibility with the DPS and the Ana. If you've got an Ana, especially in the silver ranks, their mechanics aren't going to be very good. They're probably going to be missing shots on the DPS when they're trying to heal them. It's your job to heal the DPS. Let the Ana worry about the tank. And don't put yourself into bad positioning trying to make up for something the Ana should be doing. So that's what I got for you on this one. I hope it helped. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.